Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another movie review. Me and Eris here talking about 2019 movie Midway, aka We're Better Than Pearl Harbor.
AKA, yo, Pearl Harbor, hold my beer.
You know what? So I saw the trailer for the movie, right? And I was
We
very
both
much
did.
like, oh, I know that, but I remember we were in the theater, and I was basically a whole lot like, nope, not watching it, nope, mm-mm. And it was you and Nigeria that was like, hold on, this movie actually looks better than Pearl Harbor. Because I immediately just like, I remember seeing the trailer and I just had Pearl Harbor vibes. I'm like, nope, I got duped by Pearl Harbor. You're not going to do this again. You're not going to do this shit to me again. You know?
See, you got hit with that. With me, as I'm watching the whole thing, I'm like, this is shot very well, and this is just the trailer. I think I need to go see this.
And also, like, I have reservations. See, I'm not going to say I have reservations. Roland Emmerich is the director of this movie, and, like, he's 50-50-ish, depending on what you're looking for in a movie. Because his last movie, Independence Day Resurgence, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's clearly inferior to the original Independence Day, obviously. And we, pretty much know it.
Without a doubt.
And then prior to that, he actually came out White House Down, which I actually did genuinely like. I thought that was like a really fun movie to watch and stuff. So, it is what it is. You know what it is when you go into a Roland Emmerich movie. And going to this...
Actually, if I can point something out, I forgot that he produced and directed this movie.
How could you not tell with the action scenes? That is like Roland Emmerich standard right there.
You want to know why? Because I wasn't paying attention to any of that stuff. I just saw how the movie looked from the trailer, saw the title, and, it just said coming such and such time. I didn't see the directors. I didn't see none of that stuff. I just saw footage, title. I'm going to see this.
Yeah, I mean, I had Bay vibes initially, and then when I saw who was directing, I was like, Roland Emmerich. I was like, of course, because the action does have a Bay vibe to it, but it's not crazy over the top.
Yeah.
So I would give the movie this. So the movie is basically chronicling. It's basically, like I said, it does a better job than what Pearl Harbor did. They get straight to the point. And I think it being more accurate than what Pearl Harbor was doing is a gift and a curse for this film. Because while it is historically accurate, it leaves everybody that's playing these real life people limited on the dialogue.
Yeah, they are.
So it's like you don't care, but you kind of do care. But it's like, just get to the action, guys. Like, just get to that,
Now, if you give me action, I need reason for the action. I don't need, what I really don't want is mindless action, and thank God the movie doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You see, first of all, you see them do the Pearl Harbor attack. Just going to be real. They did it better in this movie than they did in the actual Pearl Harbor movie.
Well,
Hold on. With less time used.
Well, let's be real about this. Pearl Harbor, they built... Okay, so the issue with Pearl Harbor was always, one, it took so fucking long to get to that Pearl Harbor sequence, right? And then also you had that love triangle that had zero reason for being in the fucking movie. Like why would you include that? So in this one, they get straight to the point. They hit you with Pearl Harbor, then they hit you with the Doolittle raid, I think over Tokyo, I believe.
Yeah, they do a little bit of that. Then there's some sequences that take place in China.
Mm-hmm.
There's God. Then there's this whole chess game of trying to figure out what the Japanese were up to, where they were going to strike next,
and how to get them to Midway. Basically, like how do we dupe them to coming to Midway to kind of finish this off? Basically,
yeah, and. And throughout the whole synopsis of the movie is just, it's really a story about U.S. Navy soldiers and aviators who persevered through the tragedy of Pearl Harbor, and like I said, the Doolittle raid, and then finally the Battle of Midway, which was like the big turning point for World War II.
Yeah, and I mean, when they I think more than anything, like besides the characters' dialogue, the movie does a good job of of basically setting up like the strategy that they used for these different battles, because it isn't just, all right guys, just go in there with planes and just shoot them down. It's like, no, we got strategy here. Let's figure out how we're going to strike. Because even with the Doolittle raid, there was a lot of like, and they spent like 6 minutes in the movie for that raid. It was very quick and to the point. It wasn't like drawn out and stuff.
Yeah, they weren't gonna film like any I guess like any on-screen footage of like Tokyo up close and personal. Like you just saw a bird's eye view, bombs going down and just blowing the crap out of everything, which does serve the point as to why all the castles in Japan, for the most part, I would say about 99% of them have all been destroyed and then rebuilt because of World War II.
Yeah, because people forget too, like, you know, that, like the Doolittle raid was the turning point before Midway, because more than anything else, when you have war, let's be real about this, Japan striking Pearl Harbor, it killed U.S. morale.
It did.
It killed it big time, because that's the thing, nobody saw that shit coming.
Not only did no one see any, like, not only did we not see it coming as a country or as a military force, we also had no idea like what was the capacity of their fighting ability, of their weaponry, you know, what how did they think, you know, what's their strategy. And thank God there was one person that tried to warn everybody, like, look, I don't know if y'all noticed, I said this about 7 years ago, but I think something's going to go down.
Yeah.
Like, I really think that something's going to go down. And I'm not saying that we're going to get attacked, but I think that they're going to try to turn the tide. I mean, they're going to try to start a war.
Yeah. Yeah. They and I mean, the thing about it is, because I remember, like, you know, you watch the History Channel and you see all these stories and stuff. What was interesting about, like, the Doolittle raid was, like, even the lieutenant colonel, because Aaron Eckhart plays the actual Jimmy Doolittle, the lieutenant colonel that actually was in charge of the raid. And his whole thing was, like, when that raid went down the way it did and he lost, like, a good chunk of planes, like, he literally damn near lost his whole squadron of planes during that raid, he was just like, oh, they're going to kick me out the military. But, in fact, he ended up getting the Medal of Honor out the deal.
Yeah, he did. And then I always wondered, like, how long it would, like, when he landed over in China, and you got to think, part of where he landed, wasn't that still considered occupied, like Japan occupied China?
Yeah, because they had Japanese army inside China at that point. And the thing about it is, at that point they actually captured them, but I think they executed 4 of them, I believe, 3 or 4 of them, I believe, if I remember correctly. And basically, it was a situation of, even with them capturing those people, it still kind of fucked the Japanese in the head easily. Like, that killed,
because they really tried to find them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's and to the story's credit is they show, like, the other side of it and stuff, and where their morale is and stuff, you know. And like I said, everything that this movie does, when it gets down to even, like I said, the Pearl Harbor stuff, when they show that's, like you said, it's the whole sequence is very much well made. It doesn't feel busy. It's just like everything happens, shit's going down, everything's going there, and then you get to the Doolittle's raid. You see that whole sequence. Again, they only spend really 6 minutes. It's pretty much, because there's really no reason to, because I think in Pearl Harbor they actually had an extended sequence for the Doolittle's raid, and I'm like, there was zero reason for that. That was stupid. You know, but this movie was like, no, I'm just going to get straight to the point, because really, you're there for the Battle of Midway itself. And they actually do a really damn good job showing those sequences with the dogfights and stuff.
You know, and that was probably my favorite part of the movie, was the dogfighting. Like, they put you in the cockpit for every single time that they went into battle. You felt like you were there.
I mean, it's better than Red Tails. Jeez. Did you see Red Tails?
I did not.
And, you know, movie was admirable in trying to show the dogfights, but I felt with this movie, Midway, they did a better job, like you said, of showing like them in a dogfight. Because it kind of reminded me of that movie Flyboys. I don't know if you saw that one, but it kind of reminded me of that. It's just like, no, we're just gonna get to the nitty gritty and show you like, hey, what's it feel like to be in the cockpit shooting down enemies?
And something else I want to point out. This movie is definitely like a constant reminder of, good God, did we lose a lot of American Navy men and aviators?
Man, you telling me, man? That's a movie. You really, when you think back to that time period and stuff, we really did lose like a lot of people. I mean, look, again, going back to Doolittle's raid, that dude lost damn near 95% of it, that whole squadron. Mm-hmm. just to bomb Japan. So it's like, just to bomb Tokyo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that was a risk too, because like, you know, if that shit didn't work, you're screwed.
Yep.
So, I mean,
which is, hold on, was that was part of the movie, right?
Yeah.
When Doolittle says, we didn't get that message.
Yeah.
When I heard that part, I'm like, oh, so you mean to tell me Doolittle's raid went off because of that?
Basically.
I'm like, yo, okay.
I mean, you know, but you know, and it was funny too, because like you see the whole cast, and it was like, oh, that's Nick Jonas. Okay, he's in the movie, and they made, like, I remember when they showed the trailer for the film, and I was like, oh, they're really pushing Nick Jonas to the front in this movie, and then when you see him in the movie, I was like, he's all right. He's just, again, they don't. It's like everybody is doing their job for these characters, but like you just don't care, because you're just like, since it's so historically accurate, they can't really embellish anything.
And we had Mandy Moore.
Yeah, thankfully, you know, she wasn't in the love triangle. I'm fine with that.
Yep, playing Ann Best, the wife of Lieutenant Richard Dick Best.
Yeah.
Who, this guy was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I will say this: Midway feels like, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, felt like a cinematic documentary.
It did.
And you feel every bit of the 2 hours and 20. It's almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's 138 minutes.
I mean, you feel every bit of it. And it sucks, too, because, like, I think that's probably to the pacing, because once the movie starts, because it starts you off break with I think it was the Pearl Harbor off break. So It's like, as soon as it does that, all of a sudden it pumps the brakes immediately to kind of give you exposition of all the war and how they're planning the Doolittle raid and the Battle of Midway and how they're going to scheme. And it's cool to see that. But again, it just kind of reminds me of those documentaries that you see on the History Channel.
Actually, it doesn't, I won't say that it starts right there automatically. Like, we don't get tossed in the World War. We don't get tossed into the Pearl Harbor attack immediately. The movie really starts off with a couple of who was it? It was the intelligence guy. He was played by Patrick Wilson. Wilson's character. He's in Japan, and this was a meeting.
Yeah,
and he's with, who was it? I'm trying to remember. Who was his name?
I think it was
not Yamaguchi. No, not.
What was
him.
it? Was it Admiral Nagumi?
I believe it was Nagumo.
Yeah.
Nagumo.
Nagumo.
Yeah, that's right. Jun Kunimura. I believe with his character, dude, he definitely played that role very well. Like, because you could just tell by the look on his face, like, I'm going to bomb the crap out of y'all.
But you just won't see it coming.
You're just not going to see it coming. I'm going to sit on it and stew for a good 5 to 7 years.
You know what? And again, to show, because again, it's like, I felt another director would have embellished that and made him like this mustache twirling villain, like, oh boy. And it's like, no, it was just like, that's probably how it was in real life, where he's just like, oh, I'm gonna bomb you. I'm just gonna be subtle about this.
So I'm just gonna be real quiet. You're not gonna know. It's like
Right.
you're not gonna see it coming.
I'll head nod, just be like, okay, cool.
Because that was the big warning sign to me, was when he looked at Luke Evans and he just said, "Goodbye."
You say that, it's like, hey guys, you might want to prep yourself here, because that's not a good that's not a goodbye. That's like, hey, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. No, that's it. That's, you're dead.
When he's like super matter of fact with that goodbye, I'm like,
Run.
run, go back, let him know. And that's the thing. It's not like he just said, it's whatever. No, he went back and he warned the U.S. For years that this was gonna go down. Something was gonna happen.
But I mean, Pearl Harbor was kind of like the biggest like intelligence blunder. Well,
it was
until 9/11 happened, but
Ugh.
Yeah, but Pearl Harbor was, at the time, that was like a huge intelligence blunder, because that was something that a lot of people in the intelligence field was like, we probably could have prevented that, but
When the one person who was warning everybody, and you know how it is, we don't have enough evidence that proves that Japan is going to try to attack us.
All right, bet.
I've spent time over there. You weren't in the room. You weren't in there when I spoke with this guy.
Yeah.
He's hiding something.
Yeah. But I mean,
the whole thing was about, his whole argument was about oil. And he feels that if China were to try to, if they were to lose China, they would lose their place as a quote unquote superpower in this world war. Because you got to remember, the whole world was at war.
Yeah. I mean,
and America was like sitting in the middle of it.
But like I said, just rounding this out, though, to the movie's credit, though, the cinematography was on point. That, to be honest with you, that is the reason why you go see this movie. The cinematography is like fucking phenomenal.
Oh, without a doubt, I loved
the sound and everything is just like,
it was
great.
Hold on. The cinematographer was who was it? Robbie
Baumgartner.
Yeah, Baumgartner.
Yeah.
Good Lord, was that cinematography on.
I mean, let's be real. You see it in a trailer, but trailers only give so much, because you can always get duped, right? Mm-hmm. So him being a cinematographer for this, when you see it in the movie, it's like, oh, okay.
Like, this was good.
This is good.
Like, this was really, really good.
I mean,
I felt like I was there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's funny, like, he's been in the game for a while as like a cameraman and stuff, like, because he's done like camera work for Ant-Man and the Wasp and Argo and Battleship, which that doesn't shock me in the least, because Battleship, despite how horrible that movie was, to the movie's credit, the cinematography was all right in that movie.
Could you say that this movie should be viewed in 40x?
I could see this in the. This is the type of movie that I would see at the Smithsonian at the Air and Space Museum.
I believe that if the Smithsonian's Air and Space Museum, if they don't have this, bro, that is an L that Smithsonian's gonna have to hold.
Because let's be real, you see all those battles on that big ass screen, that shit will be looking nice.
And I still say this needs to be in 40x. Have you ever had the 40x experience?
I've heard about the 40x experience. I had people that went to go see Black Panther in 40x, and they said it was great.
See, I've done it for Captain America Civil War. I've done it for Star Wars Force Awakens. And I've done it with a couple of other movies.
Yeah.
And there's certain movies that you really, really get to enjoy being in 40x, because you really do feel like you're in the movie. And this is a movie I want to experience in 40x.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. Anyways, folks.
Can I also mention another actor in this movie who played the character, and no matter how much he tried to play it serious, I'm still seeing you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that was Woody Harrelson as Admiral Chester Nimitz.
Well, you know what? When Woody Harrelson is on screen, he makes the most of it. I will give him that.
And don't get me wrong. No, and not to take anything away from Woody. He was great. I
Yeah.
really loved his character.
I think everybody was fine, to be
Yeah.
honest. I didn't really think
Everybody,
there was anybody horrible in the movie.
yeah, everybody was fine, but I particularly liked his role in the movie because it's still like it sometimes it would come across as, oh, it's Woody Harrelson playing this real person, and he's not necessarily doing it in the Woody Harrelson way. But I guess I'm only saying it because, we did just come out of seeing Zombieland 2.
Yeah, I mean, look, when Woody's in a movie and stuff, I feel he makes his presence known.
He does, and it's kind of like a whiplash effect for me because we see him ham it up in Zombieland 2, and then we see this movie where he's super serious, and I'm like, oh, okay. Again, even though he would say stuff that's legit funny in the movie, I'm like, I'm not trying to picture Zombieland 2 Woody Harrelson. I'm not. But he was great. And again, like you said, everybody was great. Please go see this movie.
Yeah, definitely go see it. Like I said, hey, you know what? In historical accurate terms, the movie does a pretty good job of that. And again, I think that ends up kind of being a situation where you just like, it's going to be the gift and the curse when it comes to, do you care about the characters? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But at least coming out of it, it's pretty historically accurate to the extent of like the subject at hand, which is is basically the build up to Midway. That's really all it is. And once you get to Midway, you see all the plotting and planning that these characters did, and you see it play out. It's like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, definitely go see it. Like I said, as Eric said, go see it in 4DX or IMAX. See it however you can, preferably in those formats, because it will really give you the good scope of like the movie itself overall. So, but anyways, we will catch you guys later on that. Peace out.
We done.